I know that I'm not the only person that follows the NBA that finds it pretty funny to look at the Eastern Conference standings a few weeks in, I think we're 2 weeks in now, and see that the Orlando Magic have the best record in the Eastern Conference. Now, I know there's going to be a ton of people out there that are going to be saying, dude, they played 5 games, they're 4-1, but they're probably not going to make the playoffs. I can already hear you. I know there's a lot of people like that because the Orlando Magic simply haven't even, come close to being a playoff team in the last, well, really basically since Dwight Howard. I mean, that was the last they ever saw of anything playoff related. They've been tanking ever since, and they've pretty much just struck out over and over and over again when it comes to draft picks in terms of guys that want to lead their franchise. However, I would argue that a lot of the guys they have on that team can play. And for all of you that are talking about how this is a fluke, well, they absolutely annihilated the Spurs last night. They put up like a 30-point victory against them. They were in Cleveland. They dubbed Cleveland on the road a little while back. They've been quietly ascending and been playing really well. And so it bears the question, is this a legitimate playoff team? Now, I know playoffs in the Eastern Conference are a whole lot different from playoffs in the Western Conference. If your team is decent, you're in. And if the Magic can be decent at worst, they should have no problem getting into the NBA playoffs, because a lot of these other Eastern Conference teams, they just end up folding. And the Magic, man, I hope that they don't do that, because of course it's so great to see new teams emerge and become good. We like to mix it up. We like when, we can talk about new players and new teams and speak on players from this Magic team. This is a team that, despite popular belief, I always felt that they had some really capable players on their team. Now, I'm not saying they're stacked, but they had Nikola Vucevic, they had Aaron Gordon, they've had Evan Fournier. Those are 3 guys that I've always thought, were pretty good, inconsistent, but, if they could put it all together, sure. And Elfrid Payton, who I think he's come back soon. He's been injured briefly. He's a guy that, I've seen him drop triple doubles, multiple, and be very effective as a point guard. But I've also seen him be exposed for his lack of an outside shot. And now this season, Orlando added Jonathan Simmons, who's been huge. They draft Jonathan Isaac for that bench as well. And they look good. I know they've had the problems with injuries over the past few years, and right now, I know Elfrid Payton's been in and out of the lineup, but they are about as healthy as they've been in the last few years right now. And through 5 games, Aaron Gordon, Evan Fournier, and Nikola Vucevic all averaging 20 plus. You're getting double figures from Jonathan Simmons and DJ Augustine, who's filling in for Elfrid Payton right now. Terrence Ross is a guy that they have there too, starting, and he's a player that, he can be hot and cold, but he will add another dynamic to that team. He's a shooter. He's a guy that can hit those shots. Bismack Biyombo as a backup center is really nice, especially you have Vucevic and Biyombo. That center rotation is phenomenal because you have a guy that's going to get you a ton of points. He's going to score all over the place on one end of the floor and be your offensive guy. And then you got Biyombo, who's your defensive guy, who's going to lock down the middle. And that's, a really good contrast to have for a team like this. So, this team, they have their pieces. We've seen Aaron Gordon, Evan Fournier, and Nikola Vucevic all have huge games in their NBA careers so far, but they haven't been able to put it together and be consistent. And, with that, we bear the question. I gotta answer this. Are the Orlando Magic a playoff team? Can they get in a 7 or 8 spot? Are they a team that is built to last 82 games and win 40 plus? And even if you win 40, you might not make the playoffs in the East. So maybe let's see if they can win 42 plus. But 4-1 start is really good. Can they hold up? And health is definitely a huge factor with that. We've seen injuries from guys on this team, and that's one thing. However, once you get past the initial good teams in the East, I'm talking the Wizards, the Cavs, the Raptors, the Celtics, and the Bucks. That's 5 teams. Those last 3 spots are open for the taking, and we have to figure out which teams are going to take those final 3 spots. You got the Heat, who I assume will get in. The Indiana Pacers, who've been playing, decent. Victor Oladipo, I should make a video about him because he's been absolutely killing it in Indiana. But they're 2-3. I just still do think they have a decent team. Maybe not good enough to make the playoffs, but don't rule them out. The Detroit Pistons, they're always really inconsistent. You never really know what's up with them. The Philadelphia 76ers, who haven't started the year good, but they have played a bunch of tough teams, so you can't rule them out there. Obviously, I'd like to rule out like the Knicks, the Bulls, the Hawks, the Nets, even though the Nets haven't been that bad. They're probably not making the playoffs. And the Charlotte Hornets, I don't know. I never really know with the Charlotte Hornets. They're another team that's just like, they could be the 8 seed, or maybe they could be a 9 or 10 or 11, but I don't know. Maybe they could get in. And the Orlando Magic. But the Magic have the jump on all of those teams, obviously, because they are 4-1. They're winning games by an average of 11 points. That's the highest point differential in the Eastern Conference. They're scoring more points per game than any other team in the Eastern Conference. And they already have big wins against good teams. They beat the Cavs by 20 points. They beat the Spurs by 30 points. And they also beat the Heat in that opener. So I think that this team is showing us potential. I feel like, we will see them beat good teams this year for sure. However, I'm not sold on the Orlando Magic as a playoff team. Yes, I think that they've gotten better. They could end up totally wowing us and end up as like a 4 seed, which would be completely unprecedented. But I can't see them going any higher than the 8 seed. Maybe they sneak in as an 8 seed, but I just can't imagine that the Orlando Magic are consistent enough this season to hold up a record where they end the season with like 48 wins. Maybe not 48, but 45, 46, something like that. Do you really think that's going to happen? I mean, we'll wait and see. I would love if that happened, but I'm not sold just yet. I need to see more. We're 5 games in. We should relax. For all we know, they could be 7-15 by the next month. So I don't want to think like that, though. I want to hope that this team is actually legit and good, because that will make things a whole lot more interesting. The NBA really needs this, and shout out the Orlando Magic for being dope through first 5 games and being the best team in the East so far. So hats off. Let's see what they can do in the next 5 games, and then we'll see what's up. They have the Hornets tomorrow night. That's their next game in Charlotte, and after that they play in New Orleans, in Memphis, and then at home against Chicago, Boston, and New York. So I think they can get a win in Charlotte. New Orleans and Memphis will be tough. Chicago will be easy, breezy for them. Boston, that's tough. Knicks, easy win, I think. So, if this team goes 4-2 over their next 6, we can start talking about something. And I think that that's definitely a possibility. That's going to do it for this video. I'm predicting an 8 seed from the Orlando Magic. That's I think I'm going to say that's my final prediction, at least so far. I would say 8 seed at the most. So 9 seed and 10 seed are definitely in play, but 8 seed I think is pretty likely for them. That's going to do it. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. And let me know what you think about the Orlando Magic down below. Subscribe if you're new. And I'm out. Peace.